AITA for ignoring my soon-to-be stepmom when she kept calling me by the wrong name. So my F16 name is Andy, just Andy. My mom's dad passed away just a few days before she found out she was pregnant. My mom was very close with her dad and his name was Andrew, also went by Andy. The technical female version of Andrew is Andrea, but neither my mom nor dad liked the name, but my mom wanted to honor her dad in some way, so I got named Andy. Which I love my name, I think it fits me. My parents got divorced when I was 8 and I live with my mom most of the time but visit my dad every other weekend, as well as holidays. 3 years ago my dad started dating his now fiancée, Kate. Kate for some reason when we met assumed my name was Andrea. I explained to her it was just Andy. She kept calling me Andrea though. I ended up telling my mom about it and she told me just to ignore Kate until she calls me Andy. Well, this past weekend I was at my dad's and we were visiting some of Kate's family. Well, she kept calling over for Andrea and of course, I ignored her. She got mad and said, "Why am I ignoring her?" Andy said, "Because that's not my name and you know this." Her dad and brother basically laughed saying they thought I just went by Andy as a nickname. Andy said, "No, it's just Andy." They then asked Kate, "Why has she been calling me Andrea then?" Well, Kate later got made calling me a brat for embarrassing her. She went on to say I knew who she was talking about and that I should have just gone with it. Booty was being an awe. I honestly kind of feel like in that instance I should have just answered to Andrea. But I don't know. AITA? AITA for telling my parents I won't be their live-in babysitter or take care of my baby sibling for them? I, 16F, am an only child and that position will be expiring in October when my parents have their second child. They were always supposed to be one and done with me, something I was aware of was partly due to them finding childcare ridiculously expensive and mom enjoying her job too much to stay home. I think another part of it, they are not very natural parents and are pretty much entirely hands off. We never do anything as a family and they are not very involved in my life. They pay for stuff and that is their contribution to my life. The pregnancy was a big shock for them, and for me. I heard them discussing WTF they would do and my mom was repeatedly saying she was not going to stay at home and she was not going to take much maternity leave. That she wants to be back at work ASAP. They complained about how much it will cost to get someone to watch the baby while they work in during the summers and stuff. I heard them mention me and I was like, oh hell no. They sat me down a week ago and told me they had these plans for me to watch the baby for 3 to 4 hours after school until they get home from work. It would involve quitting all my after-school stuff. And not hanging out with friends after school either. They also want me to stay home next summer and to consider hanging around to be there for the next few summers. I was like, no way. They told me I am going to be a big sister now and that as part of the family I have responsibilities. I told them they had responsibilities as parents and I am not a parent, I am the child in their house. They told me, not for long. I said I could just rush to graduation and leave so they can't use me as free childcare. I don't think they expected these reactions from me or the thought I had put into it. After I heard them talk with each other, I found out he could graduate in December by talking to my guidance counselor. I'm almost finished my junior year now and could finish senior year early with the grades I keep and the work I do. That is definitely the most appealing option to me and I'll be 17 in a couple of weeks anyway. My parents were really unhappy with me and they told me I am going to miss out on so much by doing this. I told them I won't take care of or raise the baby for them. That I have my own life and being stuck with a baby is not part of it. They told me I am being incredibly selfish and to think about what I am throwing away. They also said I won't be Avery good sister if I refuse to be part of the baby's life. AITA? AITA for not wanting to go to my BIL's daughter's memorial birthday because he makes grief a competition? I, 20F, don't get along with my Bill, John -32 meters, anymore. He's been with my sister for 6 years and it's only recently that our relationship has gone down the drain. For some context, when John was 19, him and his ex-girlfriend, Jane, were having a baby. Unfortunately, she died at 2 months old due to severe birth complications. John and Jane broke up. But every year on the baby's birthday, they meet up for lunch. Since meeting my sister, John also throws a small gathering for the family to come to. Obviously none of us met the baby, but it's more for support since Jane moved countries and doesn't have much family. When I was 16, my boyfriend died. It was very sudden and nothing could have predicted it. One day, he was here, the next he wasn't. I'm in therapy and grief counseling. The issue is that in the past 2 years, John has turned grief into a competition. Which really hurts because I used to look up to him as a role model, especially when it came to grief and moving on. Buta can't just let me be sad about my boyfriend. He has to bring up how he lost a child, which is so much worse. Now, I want to be clear, I've never lost a child. I've never been pregnant or lost a pregnancy, so I cannot pretend to know what it feels like, but I'm sick of him lording it over me. For example, there was a period of time last year where I lost my appetite, and John says, when I lost my baby, I couldn't eat either. I had lost a part of me. You just lost a person. You weren't connected. Swa's not as bad. The party is happening in early June and I'm invited, but I told my mom and sister that I don't want to go and explained why. My mom and sister got very upset and said I was making a mountain out of a molehill and that I need to put this pettiness behind me for John. They both said it would be douchey of me not to come. AITA for telling my wife that she needs to get over being upset with me for pulling a scare prank on our son. Last Friday night I, 37 meters, was hanging out with my daughter, 10F, watching a movie. My wife, 34F, was working late while our son, 9 meters, was hanging out with his friend. Around 8 p.m. his friend's mom texted me letting me know that she was driving him home. I thanked her and then let my daughter know that her brother was on his way. She then suggested that we play a prank on him in which we jump out and scare him. I thought it would be a funny practical joke and, long story short, she and I ended up putting on scary Halloween masks, dimming the lights, and hiding behind a couch. I then texted his friend's mom and told her that his sister and I were watching a movie and to send him to the family room downstairs when he got home. He got home and came in. We heard him come in and say, "Hello," and then come down the stairs. When he got close, we jumped out at him and shouted. Now, here's where I fully admit I messed up. I thought he'd just be startled for a second and the end would laugh with us over the prank. But that's not what happened. We ended up frightening him way more than I'd anticipated. He first started running off. And then ended up having a huge, trembling, crying, adrenaline dump for a long time. I felt really bad, so did his sister. His mother came home not long after and ended up sitting with him, hugging and comforting him. Naturally, she wasn't amused by my antics, which you understand because, again, I screwed up. However, she has stayed mad at me for all these days afterward. She will barely talk to me. I eventually got tired of it and told her that she needed to get over it. I screwed up, but I didn't mean any harm. I just way underestimated how mature prank would scare our son. I also think the tour daughter is seeing how she is treating me over it and is being made to feel way too bad over her idea that was just playful, not bad-natured. But she just says that I should have known better, and once seemed to forgive me. I get it. She's always been a complete mama bear. But it's not as if I don't love our kids, too. Was me prank honestly so beyond that pale that I deserve to keep being punished over it? AITA for refusing to help with my ex-dog's vet bills. My ex-wife wanted a purebred dog as a pet when we were together. I tried to talk her into a rescue dog, but she said no. I tried to talk her into adopting a mutt since they are generally healthier than all the inbred, pure dogs. Nope. She had Tahavi, a very specific dog breed. This particular breed is famously bad at breathing. I could afford it, so I finally gave in. I got her the dog she wanted. He was never our dog. He was her dog. Unless it was unpleasant outside. Then I had to walk him. I also paid all the vet bills and dog-related bills. When we divorced, she took her dog with her. No kids, thank God, so no child support. No spousal support either. Well, it has been about 6 months since I heard from her. The dog is not doing well and needs some fairly extensive and expensive surgery. Since he was our baby, she wants me to pay for the operations. I said no thank you. Now she is Isidand is contacting my friends and family trying to get me to change my mind. Some of my friends are starting to take her side. They say that I'm being an AmItheAsshole for not helping an animal that I used to care about. I don't think I owe her any help. I thought buying him was a bad idea. I was repeatedly told he wasn't mine. And she left with him and I have not seen them in months. AITA for not covering up more to float in my pool? I have an above-ground pool in my backyard. It's almost as tall as the fence, so you can see into it from my neighbor's deck and lots of their windows. In short, it's not very private. I'm 8 months pregnant and getting pretty uncomfortable. Being in water helps enormously, so I like to spend a good chunk of time most evenings just floating in my pool. I wear a bikini to do this because it's about 1,000,000 times easier than fighting with a one-piece. The end result of thesis that my neighbors get an eyeful of large, pale, wear sunscreen, kids, stretch mark covered belly when they look in the direction of my backyard. The other day, my neighbor stopped my husband when he was on his way out to ask if I could cover up more in the pool. Apparently they're avoiding using their deck because seeing so much of my body is uncomfortable for them. My husband laughed as if they were joking and they didn't press, but now they've started giving me dirty looks whenever they see me. AITA for subjecting my neighbors to my pasty pregnant body on the regular?